Hi, this is Leslie Meredith with Breakbulk Events and Media. I'm here in Houston in Breakbulk Studios at Breakbulk Americas. So many Breakbulks. One more. We just finished a session in the Tech and Innovation Hub on ports, Breakbulk ports of the future. And I have Tom Ward with me, one of the speakers from WSP. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. So, first of all, tell me about your company.
WSP is a large multinational engineering consulting firm. We have about 48,000 people worldwide, headquartered in Canada.
Where in Canada?
Montreal is their headquarters. I work in our office in Oakland, California, and so
I was born in Oakland, California.
Outstanding. Hopefully the lights are on in Oakland tonight, but it's fall. So yeah, and I'm a director of maritime planning. So I am in charge of planning marine container terminals, marine port facilities, doing port master plans, and that's what I do.
Wow. Interesting. So what's ahead for ports? What big changes do you think we'll see, or what are underway?
The container side of the industry has seen a lot of investment in new technologies, automations, data improvements, instrumentation, that sort of things. What we need is to have some of that technology slop over into the general cargo market. The general cargo tends to work on very thin margins and has very poor investment patterns in its infrastructure. So we have a lot of aging infrastructure that's wearing out. A lot of warehouses are degrading, and the ports can't really justify the money to fix them unless they can be more efficient at what they do. Okay. And to be more efficient, you have to make an investment and you have to get people to cooperate. And that means there needs to be some better data exchange. So a good deal of our discussion today was kind of focused on the idea that the breakbulk terminal of the future might look physically like the breakbulk terminal of today, but its data backbone will be very different. There has to be a much better flow of information between the various parties who use the facility so that the facility can be optimized and so that each shipper and each party can do their business and make money at it. And that's happened in the container industry, and all that just has to kind of like make a photocopy of it and make it work in the general cargo industry.
Interesting, but is it really a photocopy when each, say, piece of project cargo comes in? Each one's different. It's not like a container where they're all exactly, for the most part, exactly the same. So is that part of the challenge?
The containers look the same. The difference in a container is that the insides are all different. So they all have a wildly different logistic stream. And containers adjacent to each other in the yard can be undergoing very different motions. The general cargo is the other way. Okay, the pieces of freight all look different, but within any consignment, they're all pretty much doing the same thing. So you have a big shipment of pipe or rubber billets or copper anodes. They're probably owned by a shipper, and they're going to a place under a bill of lading or a logistics stream. So physically they look different, but they all have length and width and height and weight, and they all have required clearance around them, and they all have things they can be adjacent to or not adjacent to, and they take up space. That's all measurable, and it's all data that can be recorded, and it's all data that can be transmitted. Okay. And we can improve the way the machinery works so that we can track where the machinery is, and then we can maybe have automated inventory control inside warehouses and make better use of them. So right now it's all very human. A human being writes something down, he hands somebody a piece of paper, he writes it down, maybe he puts it in a spreadsheet if he's lucky, or he sends an email. Some guy with a forklift picks up the piece of cargo and he puts it on the floor in the warehouse, and that's about as much as you know about it. You don't know necessarily where it is or how much space it took or what was next to it.
Right. And is there a demand for this extra knowledge?
I think if we don't undertake the effort to make the systems better, they will die. We have a lot of the container industry has tended to push the breakbulk into the second string ports, into the ports that are not big enough to handle a container terminal. So some of them are successful. Hueneme, Houston has some good general cargo, but all of those facilities are old. Okay, the cargo was pushed into the older facilities, and a lot of them are wearing out. The concrete's wearing out, the buildings are wearing out, they're wearing out. And to make an investment in a facility, you need to have some sense that you're going to get more income out of it, right? And have a return on investment. Right now, a lot of ports are looking at making investments with negative returns on investment because they're not gaining cargo, they're just holding on to the cargo they've got. That means they're not going to make money on it. And where do they get the money to justify that? How do they make the business case for that? I think we need to make better use of our facilities so that we can increase the profit margin off of this cargo for the port that has to make the investment. So then the port can say, I don't have to restore all of my warehouses. I can restore a third of my warehouses or 2/3 of my warehouses, but I know the margin I'm going to get doing that because the efficiency of the use of the warehouse is better than what I'm getting now.
Okay.
So you got to make better use of it just to stay alive, okay, and get away with perhaps less of it, right?
Okay. All right. And do you think for the ports that are able to make the investment into the infrastructure that you're talking about will then become more competitive over time?
I think they will continue to be in a position to serve their communities. Ports serve communities. Cargo has to come in, cargo has to go out. There are shippers and owners and manufacturers and so forth in that community. We did a project in Long Beach where they were wondering about how valuable it was to have a timber terminal, a lumber terminal in the port compared to having another container yard. Well, the city needs lumber. You build houses with lumber. And if you don't have a lumber facility, you don't have any houses. So the port has a responsibility to do those things. I think we owe it to the general cargo community to take those steps that allow those facilities to continue to survive and to continue to do the vital things that they do for the communities that they serve. That's in the end what justifies the investment, is making the communities whole. Patrick can tell you more about that.
All right. Well, we will. Okay, good. Good. Well, we will invite Patrick over, and we are so grateful that you laid out the picture for us. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks
All right.
so much, Tom.